happy to be here, to be part of this amazing group. Today I would like to represent some of, I think this is not the one. Really? Okay. My name is Marmelia Dewi. I'm the project planning and control for PT Pertamina Geothermal Energy, or you might call PGE. PGE is basically a subsidiary of Pertamina. Pertamina is an Indonesian state-owned enterprise for oil and gas. Mainly, we are focusing on how to explore and exploit the geothermal in Indonesia. So before we go further, how we are going to recruit, to retain, and how to develop the female engineers in our organization, I would like to give some brief introduction towards our company first. No. No, this is not right, because this is from 2018.
Is it entire another presentation that they need to upload, or another slide?
Not this slide. It's totally different slide. Like I'm.
Is this slide number 1 you need, or before this, or?
Yeah, you can have the first one. Sorry for the interruption.
While we wait for technology to work, we do something. I would like to, while we wait for the slide to come up, Melania, just wait a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Then I will introduce our discussant on the panel, Pamela Baldinger. From the she's a women's employment expert and consultant to ESMAP in the World Bank, working in the Africa region. And we also have Himalaya Soisa from Sri Lanka, Deputy General Manager from Ceylon Electricity Board, who also spoke yesterday. Himalaya will serve in this panel, asking questions to our international case studies here presented. And then we also have Tamkeen Faisal, Head of Talent Management, Diversity, Inclusion and Culture from Karachi Electricity in Pakistan. So we will give the floor to them as soon as Menalia has found. Okay, let's go back to that presentation and then just start out with a discussion on some of the issues that has been presented here. So let's first start with some comments from Pakistan Electricity with regard to leadership positions. Can we take a deep dive into that?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that, our friends shared here, and was interesting because the kind of work that would have gone into it, because said that, when you look at the gender balance, you have 19 point something percentage of females in the organization, and you want to take it to 30%, right? So if I compare, from where we come, we've put in a lot of efforts and we've reached about 10%, right? And the percentage of females in the leadership roles is, again, that can be ignored, literally. So what I would like to hear more is that what sets up that 30% target and what tells you that 19% is not good, one. And, maybe you could elaborate more on the kind of efforts that you would have made to bring more females in leadership roles. How was that encouraged? So that, we can adopt that and can find some help out of it.
Thank you. as you said, in EU, the percentage of leadership is very much low, almost 9%. We try to make this number 30% the next 4 years by giving scholarship with the collaboration with the Ministry of Science and Education. Again, by mentorship also. We do have now 73 middle level managers. We want to increase the number of senior managements up to 30%. This goes down up to top level, up to the down level. We already put 30% mandatory on our collective agreement also. So I think it's attainable within these 4 years. The next 4 years, we will attain this 30%. Thank you.
Do you have a comment on the leadership or?
For KPLC, it's been a deliberate effort, and we expect that whenever there is a management appointment, that the gender considerations are put in place. It is when we have a legal backing to ensure 30%, it means then it needs to be complied with. And so the threshold that has been put by the Constitution is what every organization, including KPLC, is striving to achieve.
So I think that is, what is different out there, because from the part of the world that we come from, and we were discussing it yesterday, that, if that can be part of the Constitution, could be employed by some, regulatory framework, it is going to support, and we see that, it is working with Kenya and Ethiopia. Good.
Thank you. Are we ready? Yes? Okay. Then we go to the Indonesia geothermal example.
Thank you for waiting. I do apologize for the interruption. So today I would like to share basically about women in PGE, especially and in geothermal in general. Before we go further, how we are, like I said, to recruit and then develop and retain female engineers, especially in our company, I would like to give some brief introduction about our company. So you might see we are an archipelago country. So our project and our area basically scatter all over the countries, from Sumatra up to Sulawesi here. So we are running our business not solely based on our own operation, but we are also doing some joint operation with some other partners. And if you see the color code there, the red color represent our area, our operation area. So they are already existing. Like they are, well infrastructure. They are like very close from the city, and it's well established. But if you see the yellow color, they are all under the exploration phase. Like, I don't know whether you already know or not, for geothermal, we might take like 7 years before we can, build a power plant, then we can start to generate the revenue. So exploration mainly take like 2 years up to 3 years before we can go for the development. The green color now already in the project phase, like we are developing it, but we are not ready yet for the construction of a power plant. For the blue color is represent that we are having some jointly operation with other partners. So in total, in our own operation, we have 670 megawatt. It's like slightly behind Kenya installed capacity, which is Kenya is 676 megawatt. So this is all. So you might see, apart from the nature of the job, we are also having some obstacle from the geography. You might see it's scattered. So this is the, I would like to say it's statistic of how many females working for PGE. We are only having like 60 females basically. So it's 10% out of our employees. So I'm talking about only for the permanent employees here. I'm not including for the limited permanent employment or also outsourcing. It's just like permanent. So out of 60, mostly they are based in a headquarter. And the second part is in Kamojang, and the third part in Karaha area. Why is that so? Because Kamojang and Karaha, they are also located in Java. So this is one of the obstacles that we are facing. Normally women or females, they tend to be located in the center. They don't want to be based up to the mountain because geothermal is not only rural, but it's also up to the mountain. Like you need sometimes average 8 hours driving from the capital of the province. So that's very difficult for women. So out of 60 females, they are working in the exploration and development directorate for 16 people, and 11 people are working in under operation directorate. I myself working for exploration and development directorate. So even we are women, in the company, we don't have any privilege toward women. So when we would like to be recruited by PGE, we have to compete equally like men. But once you are in, you also will get equal promotion, like myself, for example. Before I landed into this role, I had to pass fit and proper test towards 2 males counterparts. But at the end, I got the job. So it's not impossible. So what we are having right now, even we are women, we are encouraged to have some training to develop ourselves toward its formal or informal. So you might see like the average training hours, female is higher than male. I don't know why, but maybe female is way diligent. I don't know. But for the policy, it's just like normal, like we are having maternity and so and so and so. But something that we would like to highlight, we are engaging to have a female-friendly and workplace environment. Like we are having a Zumba and yoga after work hour. This is the projection of our growth. Until 2025, we are going to have 1,112 megawatt. So the reflection of the total employment will be 767 from 593. So it's going to be huge opportunity, whether it is a man or a female. So what we are doing right now, we are coming to the vocational schools and university locally to introduce what is the geothermal, because it's really quite difficult to get someone from Java to be based in outside of Java, for example. Like they will be doing it only for like short term, but not for a long term. So we need somebody who would like to be based there for like sometimes to have some sustainability growth in that area. So apart from that, we are also having some CSR program that we are coming to the schools. Like we are introducing some movies, some books related to geothermal to young child. So I also, like for myself, I came 2 months back. I came to one of villages in one of our projects. It was very heart-touching when I came and I talked about that, and they have a dreams like that kids, they have a dream that they would like to have some better life, like they want to be part of the company. So we never know, maybe 10 years down the road, one of them will be part of the company. So I think that's all that I can share from Indonesia. Thank you very much for the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that was very interesting to hear from a sector that is just starting up and the opportunities that there are to put policies in place to get it off to a right start, where to attract female employees. And now I'm going to sit down again, and then we're going to have a discussion here in the panel. And then afterwards, we will open up for questions also to you. I would like to share with you first a couple of numbers, data from Vietnam. We have found in our work outside the direct work with the energy sector that if there is use of childcare, that increases women's employment with more than 45%. That increases also women's employment in contracted work with 26%. So childcare services have a huge impact in whether women can engage in the labor market. We heard mention from our examples here with regard to childcare. So I would like to ask our presenters to share a little bit more about the experience on childcare.
Okay. Kenya we are working towards a childcare facility in the coming years. However, we currently have a lactating facility where a returning mother to work after getting a baby, of course they have a maternity leave of about 90 days, which is 3 months. If you top up your leave, it comes to about 4.5 to about 6 months, depending on how much leave you will have. The lactating rooms are fitted with a sink and a fridge that they can keep their milk secure. We also have a flexi-time ability to make sure that our staff can leave they have 1 hour. They can leave early and go and make sure that they're taking care of the baby. So sometimes they leave at around 3 p.m. It is official for the union staff. We are currently working on a program where it is going to be official for management staff. As it is, it depends with your supervisor. So if you have a bad supervisor, then you will be denied because it is not official. It is an agreement. And so again, we are in a transition where we are moving towards making it compulsory, even to include it in the policy for management staff. But for the union staff, it is given. So they can leave at 3 p.m. and go take care of the baby. You can also take it earlier. You arrive at 9, depending on the agreement you will reach with your supervisor. That makes it easier for the working mothers.
Thank you. In the Ethiopian electric utility case also, child care was identified an impediment to female work participation. So we are trying to open 11 child care services in 11 regional offices by helping with the coordination. By the collaboration of World Bank, we are already hired a consultant. Now, in the near future, we will have 11 child care service for our female workers. Thank you.
Thank you. And Himali, when you hear the presentations from Africa and East Asia, what comes to your mind in terms of questions that could be relevant for you?
Yeah, as far as my country is concerned, I think the policy implementing, reviewing is difficult in the public sector. So I like to get your ideas on the public sector and private sector, the policy implementing, which is easier and how you do these good practices.
Okay, thank you. As I mentioned earlier, our company is totally government-owned company. I think we have a green light from the officials, starting from the Prime Minister. He already made 50% of his cabinet with females. It's too easy to us to implement this program in our company also. So in our situation, it's not difficult to implement, to enhance the number of women in our company. Thank you.
The public sector depends much on the goodwill of the government. And so, like Johannes has said, the constitutional provision for Kenya provides that you will push agendas that ensure that the women remain. In our country, it was very interesting. About 2 months ago, a women parliamentarian came with a baby to parliament. And she said it's because she did not have anybody to live with the baby and she needed to do her legislature function. And that became a buzz of discussion on the child care facilities at the workplace. As we talk right now, there is a bill in Parliament that has gone through the first reading that ensures that any organization that has above 50 employees should provide lactating facilities. So it's just a matter of time. Some of those interventions will be legislated. Lactating facilities are then becoming mandatory, and then child caring facilities will then become mandatory. So again, the ability of the committee or the people driving the gender agenda within the organization must have enough persuasion skills and also the presence of partners. I appreciate the partners and the multilateral donors that are present here. When they keep coming, when they keep calling for meetings with a letterhead to the MD written engendering utilities, or we have a gender meeting, we keep that gender conversation going within the organization, and it cannot die out. So again, thank you so much, partners, for partnering with us in various activities. And as long as you keep coming and engendering the projects, we will keep implementing those gender initiatives. So my colleague, I would urge you to keep that discussion going within the organization. Keep avenues where that discussion is going on. And soon you get goodwill and leadership acceptance to this direction.
Yes, please.
I think one thing that distinguishes Africa also is because they have this government mandate, is that also helps them work with the unions. I haven't heard any mention of unions from anyone in South Asia, but this is often a big issue when you want to change employment policies. And so if you have a government mandate, the union can't really buck that. So it does help your relationship with the union when you want to make changes.
And just to add to that, yes, in Vietnam, the Gender Action Plan that started our work with EVN was exactly driven by the union in terms of having specific targets for women in leadership positions. So it does mean a lot. Do you want to add to this discussion from Indonesia?
Basically, we are almost the same, but the things that maybe differentiate us is just about the union. That we do have a union, but since like the number of female employees are not that many, so what we are approaching is not through the union, but rather than through the management itself. For time being, we do have lactating rooms, and we do have child care facilities implemented in our headquarters. So all subsidiaries employee, they can come to the headquarters and register the babies or the child there. So we can utilize that. So at least our company support that program so far. Even Indonesian government still not regulated that facilities yet. Okay.
So looking at listening to the conversation, one comment that I would like to make here is that while we were looking at, making it a constitutional framework to, give a percentage of female representation in the organization, and the conversations that we've been having since yesterday around daycare and childcare facilities, some of the organizations in Pakistan, not particularly in the energy sector, what they're practicing is, and we have picked up a little bit of that practice, is they provide child care allowance to a female. It enables her to either register her child into a daycare facility or just keep the money with her to employ a maid, a domestic support in the house. What we do is we encourage daycare registrations more, and when they come back to us that with the evidence that they've registered and all, so we start giving them that reimbursement on a monthly basis. What we're thinking now is to actually, irrespective that she's putting the child in a daycare center or is more comfortable keeping the child at home, I think if we start doing that, and if that also becomes a mandatory thing, from the government side, from the regulation side, and any woman who has a child in a certain age is given an allowance, it also, I think, kills the fact of, family discouraging their, mothers going back into the work, and we're also promoting employment by, hiring women as domestic support in the house. So that can really support us. Around the lactation, rooms that you mentioned, do you think it is also important to bring in that awareness to females that, they need to utilize their breaks and time efficiently, one, and also train the management or the supervisors around the fact that, they should be allowed to take certain breaks, and the meetings should be scheduled accordingly, because an initiative that is not, launched with all that awareness